Here.
Olivas,
Here.
Guerrero,
Here.
Lache,
Here.
Johnson,
Here.
Schubert, absent.
Okay. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Public comments.
Hello, Annette. How can I help?
I don't know.
I have some. I'll
Not
wait.
so good. Okay, let's see. Angela Aiden. So you would have had to have signed up before 7 o'clock to speak. We ask that you respect the 3-minute time limit, and we ask that you respect the confidentiality of our students and staff.
Thank you. Hello, and thank you for having me here today. My name is Angela Aiden, and I am an Outreach and Harm Reduction Coordinator in Kane and DuPage counties for Live for Lolly. 3,908. That is the number of overdose deaths in Illinois in 2022. The 23 stats haven't come out yet. This was a 5.1% increase from 2021. 90 of those people our country lost were from Kane County. 83% of those deaths were from opioids. An average of 22 adolescents from 14 to 18 of age died in the U.S. each week in 22 from drug overdoses, raising the death rate for this group to 5.2 per 100,000, driven by fentanyl and counterfeit pills. House Bill 3924, Elman Law, requires health courses for high school students in each school district to educate them on the dangers of fentanyl and fentanyl contamination through instruction, study, and discussion. State Law 105 ILCS 5/27-13.2C requires boards to age appropriately educate students about drug and substance use prevention and relationships between drugs, alcohol, and violence. The group of amazing people I work with, Live for Lolly, is a nonprofit organization that focuses on reducing harm and stigma for people who use substances. We provide supplies, resources, peer support, advocacy, and education for them, their loved ones, and their communities. We would love to come into your school district to educate your staff and students about societal stigma against people who use substances, respectful language to utilize, signs of an opioid overdose, and how to respond to an overdose. We provide free naloxone for anyone who would like some, as well as resources for people who need help navigating their path to recovery, plus allowing us to come in, assist with complying to all the new laws for schools in Illinois. At Live for Lolly, we live by the motto, every overdose is preventable. We believe that providing these resources to as many communities as possible, we can eventually get that number down to 0. Thank you for your time and for hearing out who we are and what we do.
Thank you. Okay, Lynn Bernanke.
Good evening. Thank you all for the opportunity to address you. Come here on behalf of Scouting America and all of our units in East Aurora schools. That would be PAC 310, PAC 391, PAC 313, PAC 306, PAC 304, and Troop 1. The truth is that these units no longer exist. We have 10 units in total throughout Aurora currently, ranging from Explorer posts at Aurora Fire and Police to Troop 1894G, which is Aurora's first troop for girls. But we have not had any of these units that existed within D131's boundaries and were in many ways supported by them for the last 10 years. My hope in addressing you is to suggest that Scouting America is for every youth in Aurora, especially the 12,800 youth in District 131. We want to be able to help you ensure that the kids that call this place home come out of the educational system every bit equipped to be the citizens and leaders of tomorrow. I apologize if that sounds a little grandiose, but I can guarantee that the board, the city council, the principals, first responders, business leaders that are making Aurora great today are not going to be around forever. D131 is preparing those citizens and leaders, but Scouting gives them an edge over their peers by increasing their chances of success through the skills, confidence, and character gained through our movement. And that actually extends to adult volunteers as well. I will provide a copy for everyone here of our recent Harris poll, which is on Scouting's impact, which I hope you will review and which will make clear the value of our programs. In closing, I want to ask you to help us open the door to D131. We've reached out to principals and parent liaisons, but they don't always have the bandwidth to engage with us. As a result, we have largely been unable to extend the invitation to the youth of our community with presentations and information on how to join. We need advocates at every level, and I would like someone at each school to respond when we reach out so we can give Scouting to everyone. I want to ask if this is going to be the board that closes the opportunity gap to bring Scouting back to District 131. Thank you.
All righty, thank you. Okay, on to communications from the superintendent, Dr. Norrell.
Good evening. I'm going to work with Andy and do a very brief presentation from back here. One of the things that, as we transition to our new year in education, is that we want to make sure that our community and all of our constituents are aware how to really access and utilize our website. And we actually have a really nice website. And over the past 2 years, we've been working with the Office of Civil Rights to make sure that our website in this district is fully accessible as deemed by our federal government. And so I know it's been a long process, and kudos to both Andy and Lisa Morales, as well as our PR department, for really working with the attorneys in the Chicago office for the Office of Civil Rights to make sure that we're up and running. In the process of doing that, as Lisa talked about, as they would make one upgrade, they would say, oh yeah, that's good, but how about these 2 other fixes? And so we finally finished everything in January of 2024. Having gone through that, it has definitely been an improvement. We didn't think that at first because we were kind of like, ours is great, but we learned so much in the process about accessibility for everyone to be able to go on the site with various needs. And so having gone through that, we have an appreciation for the changes, but we want to make sure that one of the changes that impacts board meetings, that everyone is able to still navigate, because it is different. And so we felt it valuable in an effort to continue our full transparency, to make sure that all of our constituents understood how to navigate as far as looking and utilizing our board resources. So here is our homepage, which is just simply d131.org. And if you want to follow along for our board meeting, obviously those of you who are here, spend your time to actually come out and be here. You probably want to be able to look at some of the documents that may remain, particularly after action has taken place. So this is for anyone at any time. I'm not going in through any of my special rights behind the scene in board docs. You just simply go 3 clicks to get to any meeting and their documents for that current year. So you'd go into our district, then you would simply go down to Board of Education, 1 click. Once you're on the Board of Education page, if you're looking for items regarding a board meeting and board packet details, you just simply clicked for the current school year board packet. That's 2 clicks. And then ta-da, you have all of the meetings that have been in that particular year, and you have access to the agenda and the minutes. Now, let me just pick June. This is the first meeting that I see. We'll go to our June 3rd meeting. As you see, special note, the board's committee meetings are also here. So on June 3rd, as a first Monday, we have Finance and Personnel and Buildings and Grounds. Format is still the same. You see all of the meetings there. And then you see the regular board meetings. So any of these meetings, you can not only click to read the meeting minutes. This was an upgrade that we worked on with the Office of Civil Rights. And what you can see is differently than we used to just have a whole packet with all the things, all the documents, and we throw it into a scanner as a PDF and then we'd upload it. But sometimes it wasn't as readable because it wasn't an original format. And so, working with Andy and Lisa Morales, we actually had to raise a platform in Board Docs to be able to make it original so that individuals could manipulate their views based upon their needs for viewing. And so, it became much more accessible for any individual. And so, what you'll see in this is just straight minutes, which again, minutes are a summary of all the actions that took place, who started those actions, who agreed with those actions, and what happened. When you're looking for documents, you want to come out of there and you want to then go to the agenda documents that occurred as a result of the actions on the minutes you can find here. So list of bills and the personnel report are most often in the consent agenda. So you can read who authorized the motion to approve the consent agenda and who seconded it. And then if you want to see the documents, you go to the agenda, and any documents that were approved or that were live are in a separate document portal here. So if you click on this one, this is an example of the personnel report. Now you don't see it PDF, you see it again in real time where you could make adjustments depending upon your viewing needs. And so this is how you look at documents. So you are at any point in time, I believe, just, oops, I closed out too much, 3 clicks, thank you, Andy, away from any document for any meeting, whether it be a curriculum committee meeting or whether it be a full-fledged board meeting. Are there any questions, Board of Education? Okay. Thank you. It was the board's request to do this brief report, but I think it speaks volumes as we move into the new year so that we have full transparency and accountability to all of our constituents. Okay. Our second item for this evening is just a quick announcement for the summer school graduation. Summer school graduation is tomorrow night, July 16th at 6 p.m. at the Cremi Auditorium at Aurora University, and we are super excited. I didn't even know the latest until tonight, 32? 28, 32?
No, 32.
32. Wow, well done. I think our associate principal representing East High is here tonight, so well done, well done. So we're happy to celebrate those individuals for our second year at our new location. The other thing I want to remind the board really briefly about is that we have our board workshop with the IASB, the Illinois Association of School Boards, on July 29th at 6 p.m. here at the district office. That will be a closed session. The working of that will be a closed session format. Okay. The next item and my last item for the evening is the motion and action item for the document that we talked about. I know, Mr. Lofche, there were a question, and I did get back to you, but it was kind of late. So I just wanted to reiterate some of those points that you brought up. And in 2018, in the summer, we actually spent slightly more 6 years ago to have this process done. And I did also list for the board all 3 entities that are the large entities that are known for this work that we actually looked at when considering how to move forward. So I think I answered those questions, but if there are no more questions, I will turn it over to our board president, Ms. Johnson.
Motion to approve
Wait.
catalyst for.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, so I do appreciate you getting back to me
Mhm.
and and very quickly enough. But I guess I do have a question. I've been through way too many strategic plans and
Mhm.
many hours. Did we get a report on the last one, the 4 pillars and the 7 worthy targets, like where we're at? Because I know sometimes just to expedite it, we do a refresh, and not go through a whole new one.
Mhm.
But
Yes. So a part of the process that we engaged in with our previous strategic plan was really to have a district leadership team as well as other continuous planning teams. So, like each of our schools had a school leadership team has a school leadership team, and they come to the board curriculum committee meetings to kind of report out on the logistics around their goals and some of the work action steps and adult practices, and student achievement that they've been able to have with those particular different groups, continuous planning groups. And so we do that on a regular basis at a school level and at a district level. And so we actually contacted that entity that took us through the full-fledged plan previously to be able to ask, but they are no longer in the business really of doing that same kind of work and having that same kind of school partnership. But let me say this, there's a couple of things that I felt like were needed beyond a refresh. And that was, although every single member of our district that's internal, and even some of our parents external as it relates to the district leadership team, we have some parent participants of our parent groups, are able to give their input through our different methodologies. One of the things that this particular group is going to be able to do is garner a much broader stakeholder input. And when I met with Becky, and she's not here, she's a world traveler right now. So I believe Mr. Scott is leading the union this week. That's according to my communication. But we've had a conversation about the process of really making sure that the larger group of our stakeholders has their voice. So as we go through a part of this, one of the phases is really reevaluating what we have now. And we don't need to reinvent the wheel if we don't need something new. But I will say that in this initial phase for readiness, they will take into consideration everything we've done thus far. What they will help us do is to lead us through the data with where we've gone in the last 5 years, and then take input from stakeholders. That was the major value of this organization, is that they were able to cast the net, and any staff member or parent group that wanted to weigh in, that they would be able to weigh in on what we're doing. If we did a traditional refresh, it would just be those who were in the room. And we had great stakeholder representatives last time, but I feel like as a part of our focus on culture and climate, to be able to let every single member have some kind of input and feel like their voice was specifically at the table, that was intriguing to me. And so that was a part of this process that we didn't even have last time. The other piece that I think is noteworthy is that one of the things we lost when we lost American Institutes for Research and working with schools the way they previously did was that our principals had coaches that worked with them in their SLTs. So they weren't just left to like, okay, good, you got the process, thumbs up, go do it and get it done. But we lost that because they got out of the game, so to speak. So this particular entity has the ability in phase 3, which is why phase 3 suggests that it could be between 18 and 20 weeks. If they're going to be able to work with us for 5 months to follow up, to make sure that once we leave it at the board table, that the schools aren't necessarily able to operationalize it, because they're supposed to be living and breathing plans and they're supposed to be embedded as a part of what the schools are doing. We certainly would welcome that expertise for them to help us after the whole plan creation in those months, to actually making sure that it is being lived in each of our locations. And so we lost that when, again, American Institutes for Research got out of the game. So we're kind of without the original group. And we feel like the support of this group would be a welcome addition, in addition to us just going in the room and doing the strategic plan because it sounds good. But trying to get everybody's voice and then helping people live the voice on the back end is going to make people feel like it's worthwhile. Did I leave anything out, Mr. Scott, from what we talked about as far as strategic planning and inviting the voice of everybody through the CEC?
Okay, and it is paid for by Title II, correct?
One of the
I think it was
titles,
Title II.
probably. It's either Title 1 or Title
Professional
2. It's in my memo. I'm sorry. Do you remember? No? Okay. But
Okay.
it is paid.
Well,
Yes, we do pay
As
for it.
long as somebody else is- yeah.
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
Exactly.
Dr.
So,
Alrighty.
yeah.
Doctor, I have a comment. Some of us on the board were here when we did that strategic planning exercise and came up with the strategic plan for the district.
Mhm.
And, just reflecting back on that time, quite a few people are no longer with the district, whether they're talking about board
Right.
members or people at, in different positions throughout the district, they're no longer around. And now we have a lot of new people, and gives them an opportunity to give their input, and they might come up with different ideas.
Right.
So I think it's a good idea to let's look at the data. Let's have discussions and see what we come up with.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And when you talk about the title dollars, Title I, part of what we have when we have our comprehensive schools is that they want to see that there's planning that's aligned to the district strategic plan. And so those funds are eligible, right, for those same purposes, because we do have schools in status.
All righty, so motion to approve the Catalyst for Educational Change strategic plan proposal in the amount of $153,800.
Second.
Any questions? Secretary, call the roll.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Cefuentes.
Yes.
Arroyo.
Yes.
LaShay.
Yes.
Olivas.
Yes.
Okay. Motion to approve the following consent agenda is listed.
So move. Second.
Any questions? Secretary, call the roll.
LaShay.
Yes.
Olivas.
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Cefuentes.
Yes.
Arroyo.
Yes.
Okay, we don't have any biographies tonight.
We have one, right?
Oh, okay.
The candidate's not here this evening.
Oh, she's not here this evening. Okay. So
Okay.
No, we don't.
All righty. Okay, so moving right along to finance and personnel with Dan.
Okay, good evening. We met on July 1st, and our next meeting is going to be Monday, August 5th, 5:30 here. And so at our last meeting, we covered quite a few things, and we had donations. We always like it when we get donations from different supporters of the district, and those were approved tonight under consent agenda. Also, we had a proposal for 3 full-time employees to support the Gates through the students with IEPs. And so that was approved at the last meeting. And also, we just reviewed our press policies. And so those are on hold and will be approved at the next meeting. So give you time to review those. And we do have 2 action items. And one is the a 3-year contract renewal with the third-party administrator for workman's comp, Cannon Cochran Management Services, and this is for $30,000. And we're pretty staff is satisfied with working with them and wants to continue to do so. And the fees are modest for services they provide. And the second action item is we went out to bid for PE uniforms. And so we have a low responsible bidder, BSN Sports. This is a 3-year contract with a escalator for CPI and for $16,000 to take care of the as needed at the different middle schools for PE. So if there's any questions on these. Okay, so we have 2 action items. We did also review the budget timeline, so that'll be coming up. Okay, action item 6B1, motion to approve the PE uniform bid with BSN Sports LLC in the amount of $12,387.
So move. Second.
Any questions? Secretary, call the roll.
Cefuentes.
Yes.
Arroyo. Yes. Olivas.
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes.
LaShay.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, we have 6B2, a motion to approve Cannon Cochran Management Services, Inc. As District 131's third-party administrator for workman's compensation claims in the amount of $30,000 annually.
So moved. Second.
Any questions? Secretary, call the roll.
Arroyo. Yes. LaShay.
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Cefuentes.
Yes.
Olivas.
Yes.
Motion carries. That concludes our report. Thank you.
Okay. On to curriculum and programs with Mr. Saflantes.
Good evening, everyone. The Programs and Curriculum Committee met this evening here at 6 p.m. The meeting minutes and summary will be available at the next regular board meeting on August 5th. We do have 3 action items, though, for the board to review. So just to give a quick summary, the first one has to do with our back-to-school fair. And that action item has to do with supplying backpacks to every student who attends the fair on August 10th. So they do want to place that order tomorrow so we can get the backpacks in time by August 10th. The second action item has to do with the lunch block proposals at the high school, and 4 additional FTE reading positions are required for a total amount of $200,000. And the third action item has to do with teen mental health and career certification for CPR and fire extinguisher training. Does anybody have any questions before we move on to the action items? All right. First action item, 7.B.1, motion to approve the purchase of back-to-school fair backpacks and supply kits in the amount of $75,928.63.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Secretary, call the roll.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Olivas,
Yes.
Arroyo, Cefuentes.
Yes.
LaShay.
Yes.
All right, the second action item, 7.B.2, motion to approve the 4 FTE reading positions for the lunch block proposal at East High School in the amount of $200,000.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Secretary, call the roll.
Cefuentes,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Olivas,
Yes.
Arroyo, LaShay.
Yes.
And the third action item, 7.B.3, motion to approve the purchase of services from Matter in the amount of $67,000 and the Aurora Fire Science Museum in the amount of $108,000.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Secretary, call the roll.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Cefuentes.
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
LaShay.
Yes.
Arroyo. Olivas.
Yes.
And that concludes my report.
Okay. So on to buildings and grounds. So Mr. Schubert is not here tonight. So our next meeting will be Monday, August 5th, here at the Administrative Center at 6 o'clock. We did meet and on July 1st, and we talked about all of our numerous summer projects, which all seem to be on time and moving along quite well. We talked about the custodial bid results, which we decided to only go with 1 year because we really didn't have a large enough pool, and we're going to work on getting a bigger pool when it comes to bidding. So we'll be approving that tonight. Lawn care, we only had 1 bidder, so we ended up going ahead and we're not going to accept that bid, so we rejected it, and we're going to be hiring 2 additional employees to work with our lawn care and other, filling in with other janitorial positions with absenteeism and things like that. We do have a circuit purchase for the technology department, and that will be paid with our E-rate money. The Jumpstart program will be relocating to Johnson School this year. So we talked about how that's all going to work out at Johnson School, but it will be moved there from our current location, which basically right now doesn't have a good place for it, but Johnson does. So anyways, and then we had a long update on the Career Center and where our plan stood with that. And it showed all the different layouts of how the Career Center is going to look. So it's actually, if the public's interested, it's actually a good update. And then we had our work summary. So we seem to be moving along on all of those things. So we do have 3 action items. So motion to approve the purchase of the GG circuit management hardware and software system to manage gaming computers at the Resilience Education Center from GG Circuit in the amount of $27,400.
So moved. Second.
Any questions? Secretary, call the roll.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Olivas.
Yes.
Arroyo. Cefuentes.
Yes.
LaShay.
Yes.
And motion to reject the bid submitted for lawn care services.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Secretary, call the roll.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Cefuentes.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
LaShay.
Yes.
Arroyo. Olivas.
Yes.
Motion to award a one-year contract for custodial supplies for Warehouse Direct as specified in bid tabulations.
So move.
Second.
Any questions? Secretary, call the roll.
Cefuentes.
Yes.
Arroyo. Olivas.
Yes.
Guerrero.
Yes.
LaShay.
Yes.
Johnson.
Abstain. Motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing the appointment, employment, performance, compensation, and dismissal of a specific employee.
So moved.
Second.
Secretary, call the roll.
Guerrero.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Cefuentes. Arroyo. LaShay.
Yes.
Olivas.
Yes.
Okay, we should not have action.